much. You may be seated. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon once again. Thank you for joining us. This is the Eti Osa Constituency 1 Candidates Debate brought to you by AIG Media Pro and Ibile Foundation. My name is Yomi Owope and I will be your moderator this afternoon. Today's debate will focus on local as well as statewide issues affecting Eti Osa Constituency 1. As residents of one of the most important constituencies in Africa's largest city, which is Lagos, Nigeria, it is of great importance that we question those vying to represent us in the Lagos State House of Assembly on their plans and programs for the Eti Osa Constituency 1 and indeed the entire Lagos state. Should they be elected into office, which is why we are having this debate today. Now, this debate is therefore very important as we prepare for the elections that are coming up in a matter of days. We're going to begin now, and first we'll do a brief introduction of the candidates here present. Now, let me restate here that the candidates are running for the Eti Osa 1 constituency in the Lagos State House of Assembly. Now, if you're watching us online and you want to participate in the proceedings, please use the hashtag Eti Osa Debates. That's the hashtag, Eti Osa Debates. And of course, you can also check out the various social media pages at Ibile TV and also at AIG Media Pro. So we're going to now introduce the candidates for this afternoon's debate. Representing the Social Democratic Party, SDP, is Oluwatobi Adejoroluwa. He is a trained architect with a bachelor's degree from the University of Lagos and a master's degree in environmental design, also from the University of Lagos. He has participated in numerous trainings in and outside Nigeria. He's an alumni of the Pan-Atlantic University, the Entrepreneurial Management Program at the Lagos Business School. As a professional, notable projects among many other things can be attributed to him. Of course, there are collaborative design work on the outdoor sports complex of the Olusegun Presidential Library, Abeokuta, luxury residential buildings in Lekki, and many more. Let's put our hands together as we welcome the representative or the candidate of the SDP, Oluwatobi Adejoroluwa. Let's give him a round of applause as he comes up. Thank you so much. Next, we have the candidate representing the People's Democratic Party, PDP. He's not here? Okay, all right. And his name is Mr. Arubiewe Yusuf. He was born in 1975. He attended the Lagos State University, LASU, studying public administration, and of course received another degree in international relations from the Polytechnic of Benin, in the Republic of Benin. Now he's the managing director of Userboy Properties Limited and Userboy Oil and Gas, and has several times been the PDP chairmanship candidate in Eti Osa local government from 2010, and also a flag bearer for by-election in 2017, Lagos State House of Assembly, Eti Osa Constituency 1. Let's put our hands together for Arubiewe Yusuf of the PDP. Is he here? Okay, all right, moving forward. Next, we have the candidate representing the All Progressives Congress, APC. And that is Honorable Nahim Babatunde Adams. Please, can we keep the side talks and the conversations low, please? Now, Honorable Nahim Babatunde Adams is an indigene of Lagos State representing the Eti Osa 1 constituency at the Lagos State House of Assembly. He was born in 1980 in Lagos Island. Honorable Adams was elected after a by-election conducted by INEC in 2017 and was sworn in to replace the late Mr. Kazim Alimi as a lawmaker representing Eti Osa Constituency 1. Now, Honorable Adams is a graduate of the Lagos State University, where he obtained a bachelor's degree in accounting. Let's put our hands together as we welcome the representative of the APC, Nahim Babatunde Adams. Is he here? Moving forward, we have the candidate representing the African Action Congress, AAC, Elizabeth Emmanuel, who's a humanitarian and activist born in 1981 and brought up in Lagos. She attended Awoyeya Primary School in Victoria Island, the junior and senior secondary school, and also obtained a diploma in management, information systems. Also studied at the Federal College of Education Technical in Akoka, Lagos. She runs an NGO for physically challenged persons and is the CEO of Lisro Fashion City in Lagos. Let's put our hands together as we welcome the candidate representing the AAC, Elizabeth Emmanuel. Representing the Action Democratic Party, ADP, is Osoyin Taiwo Oreoluwa. Mr. Osoyin studied policy and strategic studies at Covenant University and has a postgraduate diploma in diplomacy and strategic studies from the University of Lagos. He is the principal tutor at EduLeads and involved in humanitarian and philanthropic services in this area. Please let's put our hands together for him as we welcome him this afternoon. Mr. Osoyin Taiwo Oreoluwa. And finally, last but not least, representing the Alliance for Democracy, Honorable Yusuf Oluwasegun Michael. He has a BSc Education in Computer Science from the University of Ado-Ekiti and has worked in several organizations to hone his skills as a professional. Let's put our hands together for Honorable Yusuf Oluwasegun Michael. All right, now that we're done with the introduction of the candidates, let's just wait for Mr. Yusuf to sit down. Thank you very much. Can we give a round of applause to all our candidates this afternoon? So we're going to go over the rules of the debates very quickly. Now, each candidate has 1 minute and 30 seconds to make their opening remarks. Opening remarks will be delivered from this podium. That's where I'm standing. So you come from the stage over here to deliver your opening remarks for 1 minute and 30 seconds. Now, your opening remark is your pitch to voters about what you will do if elected to the Lagos State House of Assembly. So 1 minute and 30 seconds, you make your opening pitch to us. And then, number two, after your opening remarks, the first set of questions will commence. Now, the first set of questions are 5, covering issues affecting Eti Osa and issues affecting Lagos State. And candidates will each have 90 seconds to answer the questions. Now, for each question that has been answered by a candidate, if a candidate that is sitting down wants to respond, you have 30 seconds to respond. So if you don't agree with something a candidate that is standing here has said, you can raise your hand and then respond within 30 seconds. You'll be given only 30 seconds to respond. After that response, if the candidate standing here still wants to respond to you, they also have 30 seconds to do so. I hope that's clear. All right. And then next, candidates are encouraged at all times to be courteous and respectful with one another. Also, we enjoin distinguished guests sitting here in the audience to kindly be courteous and respectful with candidates at all times as well. All right, so we are going to do our introductions now and then start welcoming the candidates representing the various parties as they come forward to deliver their program for Etiosans who they would represent or who they hope to represent in the next few days after the elections have been lost and won. All right, so now let's welcome first the candidate representing the ANN, Elizabeth Emmanuel. Let's give her a round of applause as she comes forward to deliver her pitch to voters.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Elizabeth Emmanuel, and I'm representing Eti Osa local government in AAC, African Action Congress. The candidate in Eti Osa local government constituency 1. What I have in mind to do in my local government, if I'm elected in, is to make sure I pass a bill on behalf of the handicaps, the physical challenged children in my local government who have no education. So I will pass a bill that will speak on their behalf in favor of these children. I will pass a bill to speak on the behalf of the physical challenged people, whereas every government office should be able to accept these people, should be able to pay them allowances, should be able to employ them, give them an employment which they have the right to have as candidates or as citizens of Eti Osa local government. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let us now welcome the candidate representing the Social Democratic Party, Oluwatobi Adejoro Oluwa. Let's give him a round of applause.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would first like to thank AIG and Ability TV for setting up. And I also like to thank everyone for being here today. Our visions for Eti Osa. And by profession, I'm an architect, and it has given me the ability to be able to have a vision, to see things people don't see, and to be able to achieve what people don't see. That's what I've been doing in my professional life as an architect. And in achieving this, I bring together all the stakeholders who I need to carry along to achieve this dream. For example, first I engage with the client, and in this case, it is going to be my electorate and the residents of Eti Osa. I am able to understand their own dreams and infuse my own dreams into their own dreams to see how we can channel this forward. Then we take it to the contractor, which is the executive arm of government, which is the governor and the different ministries, to be able to negotiate properly and for them to be able to understand what we need to do. I also have a dream because I stay here in Eti Osa. Eti Osa can actually be on the global map and compete with the Parises, the Dubais, and the New Yorks of the world. Because look at Eti Osa, look at all around you. We have done very well for ourselves. We have the best schools, we have the best hotels, we have the multinationals, we have the private companies here, we have the SMEs here. We have been doing very well for ourselves, but for us to be able to achieve our dreams, we need government to play their own role and play their own part for us to be able to achieve this dream.
Thank you, Mr. Adejoro Oluwa. Let's now welcome the candidate representing the Action Democratic Party, ADP, Mr. Osoyin Taiwo Oreoluwa. Let's give him a round of applause.
Thank you very much for having me. My name is Taiwo Osoyin, as earlier said. I want to go straight to the point. Firstly, I want to appreciate the Ibile TV and AIG Media Pro for organizing this wonderful debate. Furthermore, I would also want to appreciate every member of Eti Osa constituents that came to this wonderful debate today. However, it is far from politics. I've been making impacts in Eti Osa for the past over 8 years as a young person. Furthermore, out of all the candidates, the 12 candidates in different political parties, I am the youngest candidate below 30 years. Also, it may interest you to note that this young boy standing here today have helped to save lives in different places in Eti Osa today. I led a movement at the beach in 2016, closing down the world, the most popular beach in Eti Osa, which is a Legoshi beach, for 3 months because of lives needed to be saved. And that today has made effect in Eti Osa. If you go to the beach today, name it Legoshi and other beaches, you realize that safety measures have been put in place, not only at the beach, but also on our waterways. However, what will I do differently? I'll be working on education, infrastructural development. I'll also be working on freedom of the information bill. I'll also be working firmly on the healthcare and the health sector. I'll also work directly with the physically challenged people, which I am also, which also give us the voice in the State House of Assembly. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Let's now welcome, representing the Alliance for Democracy, Yusuf Oluwasegun Michael.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Yusuf Oluwasegun Michael. I actually don't need to talk about my achievement, but basically I'm going to be stressing what I'll be doing if elected in the office. First of all, we'll talk about education. If you notice, our public schools, we have lack of skilled teachers, whereby communicating through Yoruba strictly based on the fact that because we're in Lagos, so any tribe that is not in Lagosian cannot communicate freely. And these are the things we need to look at. Serene environment in the school premises actually matters. For the fact that they are not paying for these services does not mean that they shouldn't have the need for serene environment. All right, the environment entirely about Eti Osa is dirty. So I think these are things that we need to put in place. This increases sickness, diseases amongst us. So when we talk about serene environment, clearing of the dirty, make sure that Eti Osa entirely is totally clean. Infrastructure, mini roads. We're looking at water availability, telecommunication. Yes, we're talking about telecommunication, whereby subscribing the idea of CCTV, where we can curb crimes. Those are the things we need to put in place. Economy as a whole, yes. How do we eradicate poverty is one thing that's even stressing me about that though. Empowerment program will go well. Agriculture will travel a long way. Then we're talking about health, subsidized insurance for health. This matters for individual of indigent or non-indigent that stays in the shelter. Then security, quick response and non-fidgeting. Thank you very much.
Can we give a round of applause to all the candidates that have they've all introduced themselves. So now we're going to go straight to the questions. And of course, like we said during the rules, we said that each question you have 90 seconds to answer. And then while you have answered or while you're answering, anybody that needs to make a rebuttal can do that within 30 seconds. And of course, whoever you're rebutting will also have the opportunity to respond to your rebuttal. So we'll begin with the general set of questions. Now, this general set of questions means that every candidate will answer. Now, at some point, this is going to turn into a discussion, and then you will be allowed to sit down and respond to the questions. But for this set of questions, please, you answer them from the podium. So once I put out the question, the candidates can then come forward and answer the questions. I will, of course, call on the candidates one after the other to come forward. So the first question is this. Eti Osa local government is one of the most developed areas in Nigeria by comparison with others. It is large, it is cosmopolitan, and continues to expand at a rapid rate. What specific actions will you take as an honorable member of the Lagos State House of Assembly to move Eti Osa constituency 1 forward? Specific actions. So we're looking at specific things, specific plans and programs that you have put in place that once elected, you're going to start working with. So to start, I'm going to welcome the candidate from the AAC, Ms. Emmanuel. Let's give her a round of applause.
Good afternoon once more. One of the things I'm looking at bringing into Eti Osa local government, if I'm elected in, if you look at Eti Osa, we only have health centers. And we don't have any general hospitals around us. And I'm looking at it that it's not okay for only health centers to be in a local government. And one of the bills I've put down, which concerns health, is making sure that we bring in every local government should be able to have general hospitals, whereby when it comes to emergency cases where the health centers could not take care of, the general hospital should be able to take care of these emergency cases. Where the health centers could not give a proper care on patients, the general hospitals should be able to. And in the general hospitals, we have departments which are capable to handle worst cases. So I will pass a bill that will help us to bring in general hospitals into Eti Osa local government. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Can we now have the candidate representing the AD, Mr. Michael? We're talking about specific actions you will take as an honorable member of the Lagos State House of Assembly to move Eti Osa Constituency 1 forward.
I want to quickly say this, that HSI is for everybody. It's not mandatory you should be from HSI or not. So there should not be sentimental segregation. However, we centered our strength to the people that are a little bit wealthy. What about the poor people? We need to increase, we need to eradicate poverty. My strength, that's exactly what I'm talking about. What are people who cannot afford their 3 square meal? Are you kidding me? Sorry. 2 square meal. So these are the things we need to stop. Before I get into power, I was able to open an empowerment program in Jakonde and Nikota. And I have my graduates here with me, and they're making their money. I graduated 400 students, and they're busy making their money out of the little stipend they are getting. So it shouldn't be centered on the rich people alone. It should be a place whereby even the rich and the poor should be able to access every infrastructure, everything in Eti Osa. A poor person should be able to step his or her foot in a rental hotel. No sentimental segregation. Another thing I want to talk about is the electricity. Yes, we need stable electricity in Eti Osa. If there is stable electricity, business will grow. If there is stable electricity, there won't be any reason for poverty. It's going to reduce. Then another thing I want to talk about is tourist center. We have enough, fine. But what about tourist center that the less privileged cannot afford? So those are the tourist centers that I think we need to put our strength where we can eradicate poverty and ensure that things go well, smoothly, and individual can work. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Michael. Now remember that at every point in time, when you're observing a speaker, you don't agree with what they've said, you can raise your hand and you'll have 30 seconds to respond. Okay? And please, also to all candidates, please don't forget, when we talk about specific things, we want specifics. Okay? All right, let's now welcome Mr. Oreoluwa of the ADP.
Thank you for having me. It is oblivious of the fact that one thing that is major problem to Eti Osa constituency today is the toll gate. We cannot put that aside. Now, as a lawmaker, I'll be reviewing the concession plan for Eti Osa constituents and the toll gate. Currently, in 2018, the toll gate was increased with about 60%. Going mathematically, if that toll gate is continuing to be increased, because the concession plan is going to end by 2041, if that toll gate will get increased every 7 years, we'll be paying 1,685 naira as an estimate by 2041. I will review that plan immediately as a lawmaker because a lot of money has been made in that toll gate and it has to be scrapped. It is not helping the people of Eti Osa and it's not helping the constituency. That is my first major and specific plan in the Lagos State House of Assembly. Furthermore, I'll be looking at how we can make education more affordable and also more accessible. Now, as part of the ADP's plan in Lagos State, we intend to build more schools. However, because that will take a period of time, what we will be doing in ADP and as a lawmaker is to ensure free transportation for students. The question is this: why would our armed forcemen be entitled to free transportation and the future of tomorrow, which is the education of our kids, is being jeopardized and they are being paid for? So I would ensure that these kids in going primary and secondary school have access to free education as a lawmaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Orolua. Finally, let's welcome from the SDP, Mr. Ade Jorolua.
First thing I'll be doing when I get into the office is to take a look at human capacity within Eti Osa. And when I say human capacity, we are looking at two angles: education and skill acquisition. I would like to inform you that the 2018 budget for education for Lagos State was 126 billion naira. And let's say we divide that by 20 local governments. Let me even divide it into my constituency. So we divide it by 40. That will give us 3 billion naira for education for Eti Osa. And I believe Eti Osa deserves more because the IGR being produced by Eti Osa constituency is higher than every other local government. So much should be given to us to develop our local government. So our first thing I'll do is to find out what was done with that 3 billion, where the projects were put into for education, and see if they have fully implemented it. The major problem we have is that there's no transparency and there's no accountability on the part of government as to how they are using the funds that are supposed to be expended for the different projects that they embark on. So the first thing I'll do is to review the budget on that. The next thing, another thing I will look at immediately is traffic, because in the budget there's supposed to be there's supposed to be a road going all the way from VGC down to Freedom Park Road, which is in the budget, which I haven't seen being implemented. There's also supposed to be another road connecting Ira all the way down to Lekki Expressway. So what I will be doing basically is to focus on education and how far they have implemented the 2018 budget for education. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think that about does it for all the candidates. We will now move to the next question in the absence of any rebuttals from the candidates. Let me just ask you one more time. No rebuttal yet. Okay, so the second question is this. Now, in the first debate this morning, we talked about social welfare, which is very important. The women and children are usually the worst affected when issues like humanitarian disasters occur. So humanitarian disasters can be a disease outbreak, flooding, and sometimes even maybe if demolition happens. Usually women and children are the worst affected. Now, as a potential representative of the people, what critical welfare issues affecting women and children in Eti Osa have you identified specifically that we'll need to address, and what specifically do you want to do about them? All right, so let me tell you again. As a potential representative of the people, what critical welfare issues affecting women and children specifically in Eti Osa have you identified that will need to be addressed, and specifically what will you do to address such issues as a representative? All right, so for this question, we're going to welcome first Mr. Michael of the Alliance for Democracy. Let's give him a round of applause.
The women and the children don't have the muscular strength as the guys. This is one of our major concerns. It keeps me worried when it comes to demolition in Ikota. We heard a couple of weeks that the Ikota wants to be demolished, and it keeps our people worried. And I was asking myself, why is this happening? Are we saying that the government are not aware about this? Ikota residents are people evicted from Morocco, and if you want to send them away, create another housing scheme for them. Housing scheme for them if you want to send them away. And it's because we are not seeing the right person to fight it. We need to fight this thing. So when it comes to women and children, it's all left for the candidate to come out and fight, be in support of these women and children, because they are powerless like the guys. They are less. They don't have that emotional strength to fight the battle that we want to fight. So if I am elected, I'll ensure that I fight for the women and the children, regardless of whatever outbreak, disease, or anything that is going to come their way. Thank you.
All right, let's welcome from the SDP, Mr. Adejorolwa.
So basically, what we are going to ensure is that if government is going to be evacuating anyone from where they are presently, there must be an alternative. There must be an engagement with these people. They should be able to understand the plight of these people and make an alternative for them. Another thing that they should be doing is also compensation. It could be monetary, or they could also create another settlement that is ready for them to be able to be moved into, so that they don't become vulnerable. Another thing that we can do is to encourage government to have rent-to-own shops and also rent-to-own housing schemes. So even as you're paying your rent for the small shops that they have, because if you go along my constituency, you see a lot of women who have mini shops. So as they are paying monthly or yearly for these shops, they are also owning them. So at least they have some rights and some ownership to some of the properties that they will have in the constituency. And there it also impacts us, because they are also giving back to the community. Another thing that we'll do is also we need to raise laws that will protect the women, because they are vulnerable. So we need to push laws that protect them. You hear so many issues of rape and so many other things. There are glass ceilings for women that don't allow them to achieve all the potential that they can achieve. So what we will do is that we will ensure that there are laws to protect women. And for the children, once they are in school and once we educate them properly, we ensure that they have a brighter future for tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Please just hold on one moment. We have a rebuttal from Mr. Oreolua of the ADP. So if you can come forward for 30 seconds and do your rebuttal, and then you will have 30 seconds as well to respond to him.
Toby, you talked about eviction. The question is this: eviction is illegal. You either negotiate with the people who own the land for the government to get the property, or you forget it. It's not a forceful thing. But what we see in Eti Osa today is a force to colonize the people's land. So if you are encouraging that as a lawmaker, that means you've not done anything differently with what is happening today.
All right. Do you want to respond to that?
Now, there's one thing to know. There's legal settlement and there's illegal settlement. And there's an engagement with the people. Even though there's an illegal settlement, in whatever area, you are supposed to create an alternative, because government is supposed to take care of those people. If there is legal settlement, then you have every right to own that property. And if, for whatever reason, government is looking at evicting people, the people have the first right of refusal to say, no, we own this property and we are not moving from here. So government doesn't have the right to evict people who settle there legally. It's legal settlements that I will say we can make options.
All right, thank you so much. Thank you for the rebuttal and also the response to that as well. So we're moving to state-related questions. We have 2 questions in this category. Now, of course, these are general as well, so as usual, you will come here to answer the questions. As a lawmaker in Nigeria's commercial nerve center, you will be saddled with the exceptional opportunity and responsibility of formulating and amending laws and monitoring and approving budgets for nearly 20 million Lagosians and getting paid handsomely for doing it. Why should Etiosans trust you to represent their interest effectively and without fear? Let me take that question again. As a lawmaker in Nigeria's commercial nerve center, you will be saddled with the exceptional opportunity and responsibility of formulating and amending laws and monitoring and approving the budget for nearly 20 million people and getting paid handsomely for it. Why should Etiosans trust you to represent their interests effectively and without fear? I hope the question is clear. All right, so to start for this set of questions, we're going to welcome Mr. Oreoluwa of the ADP. After him, Mr. Michael will come forward, and after that, Mr. Manuel, and then, of course, after that, Mr. Adejorua.
Question of trust is actually relative. However, as a lawmaker in the Eti Osa Constituency 1, it's only simple to trust me with. One, go through my policy documents. Now, I have about 100 days interval of achievement that I need to put on play. Now, if I fail in this achievement, my constituency should actually put me on the toe and ask me questions. Now, furthermore, why should they trust me? I've been with them for quite a long years. I've gone through a lot of struggle with them. I've also helped in actually ensuring that their personal needs are actually met. And now it's a time for them to trust me, because if I could do that without any governmental influence, I could do better with the influence of government. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's welcome Mr. Manuel of the AAC. Sorry, apologies to Mr. Michael there. But Ms. Manuel, please come forward.
Good afternoon again. One of the things I'm looking at when it comes to trust, transparency is the key to everything. If you are transparent in what you are doing, you don't need people to talk about it or you shouting about it. Your transparency will speak for you. And one of the things I want to do in my local government is that I will be holding town hall meetings with every committees in my local government. I will be bringing people together to make sure I put in place, I let them know what I've been doing in the house and what I've been going on over there. And this is where my transparency will come up, because when they see what I'm doing, when I'm open up to them and let them know what I'm doing, I think trust will come in and they will trust me with whatever they have for me. Thank you.
All right. Let's now welcome Mr. Michael of the AD.
Trusting, we've all been talking about trust actually. I wouldn't want to abuse my opportunity because I'll go for a run. If I abuse the first opportunity, I don't think the masses will want me back. A typical example is the present governor of Lagos State. He's actually doing well. We all can see, even the blind could feel it. So I wouldn't want to abuse my opportunity with one token, let me put it that way. It's a token actually. And so far so good, my integrity, I've spent 1.9 million naira so far with the 2 empowerment program and other things that I've invested in Eti Osa. All either win or lose. So I'm not a money monger and I'm not selfish. Whatever selfishness I want to imbibe should be positive, meaning go for a run. If I'm done with my Lagos State House of Assembly, I go for reps and so on. So I wouldn't want to put the lives of the masses at stake. Then lastly, I'm from Ogoyo. My father is from Lagos State, from Eti Osa precisely. So I have no reason to jeopardize the development of my community. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's welcome the final speaker of the SDP, Mr. Adejorua. And the word is re-election, not rerun. Re-election. Thank you.
To remember that democracy is about institution and structure, and not about trusting man. The way you would know that you would trust someone is by the institution and the structure he puts in place to ensure that he's transparent and he's accountable to the people. What we are going to be doing is to ensure that we have a constituency office and we are very accessible so that you can actually engage with us and let us know what government is doing. Another thing that we will jump on immediately is they've made my job easier because there's a freedom of information bill that has been passed, which means information should be accessible to every single person. So I am going to actually be a whistleblower of the House of Assembly, who is going to be letting you know every single thing about the budget. Even in my opening speech about education, I told you that 126 billion was already appropriated in our budget for 2018. This is what I'm going to continue doing. I will continue to let you know how much has been given to our constituency, what government is supposed to do with that, and how far they have fared with that. So it is about trust. Democracy is about creating institution and structure to ensure that there's accountability and transparency. That's what I will do when I am a member. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any rebuttals from the floor? Anybody responding? All right, so we'll move to the final question for this category. Please listen carefully. Now, despite being the most developed state in Nigeria, Lagos State faces a myriad of challenges, from overpopulation to high unemployment to problems with infrastructure. Now, how will your presence in the Lagos State House of Assembly contribute to the development of the state, and particularly the Eti Osa local government? So for this one, we'll start once again with Mr. Adejorolwa of the SDP.
Well, if you go, the population density of Lagos State in general is 4.5%. And I don't really agree that. The problem with density is that infrastructure is not catching up to our development. Singapore has a density of actually 6.0, which is actually more than Lagos State, but they don't have the same issues that we have. It's because that there's infrastructure, there's careful planning for the future of the development of that constituency. As a House of Assembly member, there are some things that I would focus on to ensure that the quality of life within my constituency is better. The major issue that we have in terms of the quality of life is transportation. First, the major road that we have, there's an issue with the design of it. Another thing I'll be looking at is also interior roads. Another thing we can look at is also exploring the other transportation options that we have. We have the waterways, we have the light rail system, and we have a coastal line that is not being used. I'm going to ensure that I engage the executive arm. I'm going to engage the House of Rep because the coastal line is a federal issue. And I'm also going to engage the senator because all of these are stakeholders in Eti Osa, and these are members to represent us. So I'll hold them accountable to ensure that we solve most of the issues and catch up with the development of our constituency. Thank you.
All right, let's welcome Mr. Oreoluwa.
Excuse me. The ADP stands for something, and we stand for integrity. However, one of the plans of the ADP is the Lagos Integrated Regulation Plan, the LRIP. Now, we're looking forward to intervention plans. Now, these intervention plans will take, firstly, road construction, road networks, which would actually link other states to Lagos State. Now, what that means is this. While you are trying to trade in Lagos and everybody's coming to Lagos to trade, you also have the opportunity to actually go to other states in the east, like Delta State, and other states in the west as well, like Ogun State, Oyo State, and also. So that will give us an opportunity to reduce the population of Lagos State, because all these other states will also be open for trade relations and other factors for development in other states, rather than focusing majorly on Lagos State. Also, we'll be looking at the issue of transportation, which is the major issue in Lagos State today. What are the issues of transportation? Includes one, we have poor road construction. That's number one. Two, we have very little transportation system that can accommodate the people of Lagos. So we will actually go into using the big ferries to actually transport over 1,000 people in Lagos State, reducing the number of people that use the roads, and also as well give opportunities for people that also want to do other businesses in Lagos State. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's welcome Ms. Emmanuel.
Yes. When I get to the house, one of the things I think we'll be bringing in place in Lagos State is creating in every local government, there should be a community college, community colleges, whereby in every local government, there are people who are not able to go to the universities. So if we bring in these community colleges, it will enable the state to manage the budgets which they send to our universities. And they'll be able to look down into our local government to bring in these colleges that will assist a common man to achieve something when it comes to artistic work, crafty work. There are a lot of people who want to learn, who want to have something to do. But because they don't have the money to go out there and learn these things. But by the time the government are able to bring in community college, it will enable a lot of Nigerian youth who are roaming about. It will reduce and eradicate idleness amongst our youth in the society. And one other thing I want us to look into will be demolishing of structures in Lagos State. It is not proper to evacuate people from where they are living. So before a government will want to evacuate a set of people, they should look at their lives and be able to restructure before they do what they have to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's welcome our final speaker for this question, Mr. Michael of the AD.
No doubt, Lagos is populated already. We can still survive it. All right, I've said this before, that we can bring in empowerment program to eradicate unemployment, just like the question coming in and other things that can actually obstruct us. So empowerment program is because of my weakened finances. If not, all the graduates would have been going with their equipment. So if I can start up an empowerment program that is free, certificate free, registration free, everything is free for the people, don't need to wait for the government to provide them job, and they are able to get a little stipend from this free empowerment program, is a plus. Another thing we should look into, which I think Lagos doesn't have, is agriculture. Get a very large piece of land. You don't need to get your pride. Get a piece of land and let's invest in agriculture. Let there be food in Lagos. Don't let us start transporting food from Cotonou down to Lagos. No, let's have this large acre of land and invest in agriculture. Those people who doesn't have certificate are very useful on the farmland. Yes, then outside the box, we'll be looking at free wireless. The youth need to be updated. Yes, we need to be updated. Back in the New York, New York, my governor will always say something on the Alliance of Democracy that they are free to all these things. Then Michael Draxler in 2009 used the W2H, that when you find what are the causes of the problem, you're going to know how you're going to tackle it and when to tackle it.
Thank you, Mr. Michael. Do I have any rebuttals for any of the comments that have been made? All right, now we will now proceed to candidate-specific questions. And for the candidate-specific questions, please would like responses from other speakers that are on the stage. All right, so specifically, this question is addressed to the candidate representing the ADP, Mr. Oreoluwa. Now, you are advocating, in your own words, for the cancellation and removal of 4 toll gates collection points along the Lekki Expressway. Now, my question to you is this. Given that this is a concession arrangement, which under the law of contract binds the Lagos State government and the private company running the tolls, how do you intend to enforce this cancellation? How do you intend to go about it when it is already a binding contract between the Lagos State government and the private company? You may answer the question in 1 minute.
By God's grace, after 2019 election, the APC will be a good story in Lagos State. Let me give a breakdown of how the funds in the Lekki toll gate, is being gotten. Every day, over 250 million is deposited in the account of the LCC from the toll gate.
Is that confirmed information?
Confirmed fact.
Where's this information from, sir?
I will give it to you after the program, if you want to get it. I'll give it to you. 250 million naira every day is gotten from the Lekki toll gate. Now, why I said the APC will be a forgotten story in Lagos State by 2019 election is the LCC concession plan will be renegotiated, because the fact is this: the LCC plan and the concession plan for Eti Osa actually puts the Eti Osa constituent and the properties of Eti Osa under the ownership of LCC. There is an agreement in the LCC concession plan that states that any property that the LCC feels will actually help in the development of the roads, and they feel they want to get it, they report to the head of PPP, that is the private-public partnership head, and the PPP head will report to the governor, and the governor have no choice than to release that property to the LCC. Those are the concession plans and concession agreements in the LCC. All this will be properly looked into as a lawmaker in the State House of Assembly, and we will ensure that those plans and those concessions are renegotiated for the people of Eti Osa. Because firstly, if you get 250 million ever since, and you have not done anything to the Eti Osa constituency, then something is wrong. Secondly,
thank you, Mr. Oreoluwa. Do we have a rebuttal to that? Anybody wants to respond to what he said? All right, thank you. So I'm going to move forward and address my next question to Mr. Michael of the AD. Now, Mr. Michael, a lot of your submissions this afternoon have been related to the empowerment of youths. You've talked about how you spend personal funds to empower youths. Now, a lot of what you have said have not taken, that you're going to do as part of your plans for empowerment, have not taken into consideration issues like security, issues like taxation and extortion. You talk about getting a piece of land, which is what you said now, where you're going to, where you will raise farmers. You've talked about free Wi-Fi, but you haven't given us specific details about how these things are going to be possible, and how if people are empowered and there's no infrastructure for them to run their business. For instance, you empower me and you give me a shop, or I'm a barber. How do I then get power to ensure that it's being run, my business is being run properly? So what are the other, you haven't considered other aspects that go with empowerment? You are just talking about empowering people without going into details. So can you give us some details about what you intend to do, especially with regards to things like security of lives and property in Eti Osa, and also things like taxation?
The goal of Alliance for Democracy is to stop systematic slavery. And that is why my strength is basically for the poor people. I have my weakness, but my weakness can become my strength. Now, for the empowerment program, if I was to have that financial capability, I would empower the 400 trainees that I graduated in January 20th, 2019, giving them their own machines and all that. And talking about security, yes, we understand, or I want to believe that most of our officers are fidgeting. You can't call a police for a crime scene. It's not always there. They are always fidgeting. They are always scared because they don't want to get harmed. They don't want to lose their life. These are one thing that we need to put in place. Tell the government that we need a force that can equalize, either you're from their party or not, should able to have a quick response when we call, regardless of the scenario that is happening. Then taxation needs to calm down, because while I was teaching, what I was being deducted from my tax is way too much for a low earner like me. I need to quit. If this taxation is just taking away from my money, it's still going to make me poor.
Thank you, Mr. Michael. Do you have any response? Okay, Mr. Adijorua wants to respond, wants to rebut what Mr. Michael had to say. Please, Mr. Michael, just stay over there, and then you can respond to his comment.
He made a statement saying, if I have the money. I want to understand how, as a legislator, you have the money to empower people. Is it that when you get into power, how do you want to get out those funds? And just how do you want to empower people financially?
I basically stated that if I had the money, I would have empowered the youth January 20th, even when I'm not in the power yet. So my if, the conditional if, was before my power, not after my power. Definitely, if I'm in power, I would make sure all the 400 trainees get their machines and start making money from them.
All right, there's another rebuttal to your comment. Please, 30 seconds, and then 30 seconds response.
Eti Osa is a population of 1.2 million on an average at the moment. You're talking about empowering 400 people in your own personal empowerment program. As far as I'm concerned, are you trying to promote your own empowerment program against the general population of Eti Osas?
I have 600 trainees in Jakonde. They'll be graduating March ending. That's a total sum of 1,000. And I have my beneficiaries who they've graduated with me here. And if I can graduate 400 and I'm running 350 presently for the second batch, which is going to end in March ending, I'll be graduating close to 1,200 trainees.
All right. Let's move forward. All right, so we're moving over to Ms. Emmanuel. Now, in your opening submission, you talked about healthcare, but you were light on the details about what you want to do with regards to healthcare. You didn't go deep into details. You just said that a hospital will be built. How will this be done, and where will you get the money to do it?
When I talked about healthcare, I brought in general hospitals to be built in Lagos State or in Eti Osa local government and in all Lagos State local governments. And I think that is a responsibility to the government. I'm talking about general hospitals to be brought into every local government.
Yes, you talked about it as part of your programs, which is why we're asking how will it happen, since you are saying it's part of what you want to do.
That is a bill I'm going to pass to the House. And if that bill is being signed, I believe the government should take responsibility on that. It is a general hospitals. It is not a private thing. And what I will want to do when I get there, when it comes to healthcare, there will be constituency allocations. And those are the allocations that I will be using to support my constituency when it comes to health. Thank
All right,
you.
so we have two rebuttals that are coming up, but we can only take one of them. So let me have Mr. Adijorua to come and talk about it. So you just stand over here, 30 seconds, and then you have 30 seconds to respond.
The two observations. Number one, you said there's actually a general hospital being built at There's actually a general hospital built in our constituency. And the second one is, you talked about, there's actually one being built. I can't remember. How would you, as a legislator or a policymaker,
no, you're not asking debating questions. We're focusing on specific things that she has said. That's what you are responding to. So please, so he's making an assertion that a general hospital is already being built. So, so what was the point you're trying to make?
Made a statement that wasn't as a build is that for them to build a general hospital.
Okay.
Talking on behalf of other local governments, that the government should be able to give
So
every local
you want
government
to make it
a general
Okay.
hospital.
All right. You want to his earlier comment? Okay, his earlier comment. Okay, please come forward. Okay, this comment or the earlier comment? Oh, no, you can't do that. You will be defending her. So. Okay, let's. We will proceed. We will proceed. Thank you. Thank you very much. Now, from here on, we will be taking questions and answers from there. So please, can I have microphones up on the stage? All right, so candidate-specific question to the final candidate, that's SDP for this category. Please, we're going to be taking questions from the audience immediately after this. Now, Mr. Ade Jorolwa, you talked about traffic management. We all know that on Lagos Island and, of course, in VI, Ikoyi, Lekki Ekpe Expressway, there's a lot of traffic, usually during rush hour. You talked about some solutions that you wanted to suggest or recommend and also implement if you get elected, but you didn't go into specific details. Now, we know that you're an architect and you've worked on several projects, but we now want to know specifically what you want to do to solve the perennial and very tough traffic situation in Eti Osa local government. And remember also, this traffic situation is being also foisted upon us by other local governments that are coming in this direction for work and also for shopping. So how do you intend to specifically address this issue of traffic?
Okay, so from the part of being a legislator, a member of the House, we are going to open the discussion about having multiple ways at which we can ease traffic. One, we are bounded by water, and we actually have people coming from Ikorodu all the way down to VI just around here. It takes them about 10 to 15 minutes. So we need to encourage government to have more jetties to enable us to ease traffic. Another issue I have, and which would work very well for us, I'm an architect, so I have an understanding about how this works. The major road that we have here, it is poorly designed. We have roundabouts situated at different points. If you look at Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, Ikorodu Road, you don't have roundabouts in the middle of an express. It is actually a hazard. They are supposed to have the express is supposed to have no interruption. We should have a replication of what we have at Aja roundabout there. We have a bridge to ease traffic. And we should actually have service lanes, because you can't just go from the major express down into the adjoining buildings.
So a lot of what you're saying is we should have. So where does this money come from? How is this? Now, how do we then ensure that there's allocation of resources in that direction? Because Eti Osa is not the only local government that we have in Lagos State.
There's a saying that goes, to whom much is given, much is expected. And as a representative, I am going to ensure that I negotiate very well on behalf of my constituency, because we have given a lot to Lagos State in terms of IGR. The IGR being generated from here is actually one of the highest, not just only in Lagos or in Nigeria, or probably in West Africa. So based on the strength of that, we can actually tell them to push more infrastructural developments here. And again, we can give them, for example, the toll gates that they have put here, they've actually had return on investments on what they have done here. So we can encourage them to actually invest more, because they'll get more of the IGR.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Ade Jorolwa. We're going to be taking questions, okay, but we have one rebuttal there. So 30 seconds, please. And then, of course, you can also respond within 30 seconds.
All right, Honorable Toby actually stressed on improvising through water. And the only community coming from that access through water is Ikorodu. Those are the people coming through water. So basically, and that's a minimal percentage. So what about the maximum percentage of we that ply this road? How do you go about it without improvising or diversing into the boat? We need this road. We need to know how it's going to be tackled. There won't be.
Thank you, Mr. Michael.
Now, for a better understanding of what is going on in Lagos, there are jetties that are coming up all around the entire state. You have one presently going on in Oworu, and you can see the kind of traffic that we face on Third Mainland Bridge. So you can actually go through a jetty and avoid that traffic on Third Mainland Bridge and hit right down into VI here. There can also be another jetty at Ajah. There can also be another jetty situated within our constituency. So we are going to actually open government's eyes to see that there's a whole lot of influx there and we can absorb it through our waterways. I also talked about the design of the road constructions that we have here. Back in 2018, they have already started regional roads that we'll look into.
All right, thank you, Mr. Adejoro. We have to move forward. Mr. Michael? Okay, so he needs to correct an incorrect statement made by Mr. Michael. Please just correct the statement quickly.
You said we have just one waterway in Lagos State leading to where, which is wrong. We have about 4. We have Badagry, we have Ikorodu, we have Ekpe, we have all these places linked to Lagos, to Eti Osa. What I mean is this. Those who would actually come from probably VI to Ekpe, we also apply to the road. While there's a route for waterways to Ekpe from VI. Those who want to go through Apapa we no longer need to pass through the Third Mainland Bridge and the CMS Bridge to Ijora. They can pass through the waterways to Apapa as well.
Thank you, Mr. Orelua. Thank you. We have to move forward. I apologize. We've gone for over an hour. And now we want to take some questions from the audience. Questions from the audience. Now, for the audience, you can address any of the candidates based either on what they have said here today or something that you read in the policy document that either you don't understand or you don't agree with. And like I said, please be respectful with your comments. So any comments? Comments or questions? Okay, we have a gentleman at the back there. Please identify yourself, introduce yourself to us, and then ask your question. If you also want to ask a general question to all candidates, please indicate that it's a general question to all the candidates.
Okay, my name is Osamu Sona. I'm an IT professional, and I take students as well, so I take trainees. Yeah, so my question is directed to all the men in general, but he made a question that he's going to create waterways. Now, what of people who have like fear of water due to the fact that the jetties out there, they don't have sufficient life jackets, and some of the life jackets that are there, they are really old. So there was an incident of the boat getting capsized or something. The life jacket is used just like a vest, singlet, not going to save any life. So due to that fact, people don't actually take those ferries and stuff. So how do you intend to motivate people to have that, remove the phobia of taking water?
Thank you. That indeed is a good question, especially during the rainy season. It gets quite boisterous and quite dangerous traveling across the waterways. And sometimes when you hear horrible stories of accidents happening on the waterways, it makes you feel like the Lagos State government is not ready yet for this form of transportation. What do you have to say to all the candidates now? Please, 1 minute each.
Mr. Osam, very good question. Apart from the waterways, we'll be looking at the train system as well. So we will create 3 alternatives. We have the train, we have the road, and we have the waterways. However, concerning the waterways, we'll provide bigger jetties that can accommodate 1,000 passengers and also carry cars.
Now,
So
when you say we will provide,
I mean,
remember that, you know.
Okay, when I mean we, I'm talking about the governorship candidate of the ADP. That's Badamosi here. Now, because we hope that by 2019 he's the governor of Lagos State. Now, when we talk about that, apart from the waterways as well, we also ensure that the ones available, there's a bill passed. I actually have a bill because that's also one of my interests, to also ensure that all the expired or old life jackets that is still on use will be evacuated and new ones will be brought in. Let me tell you something. In the Lagos State budget today, in the Lagos State waterways budget, there's a budget about 2 million. Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Orelwa. Thank you. Thank you very much. You want to respond to that? 30 seconds.
He made a statement saying that when the governor from his own party gets there, is it that when they get there, what they plan to do is that they will just also have a family discussion within their own party and just be implementing? I just want him to clarify that more.
Please clarify.
Well, it is no longer, it will not be business as usual. We are not the regular parties that you guys have been saying.
But you're also making a lot of assumptions that your governor will be governor and you will be the representative. So we're trying to say...
I am being positive here.
Okay, so go ahead.
So if, as I said, when we become governor, when he becomes governor and I become the representative of Eti Osa, these things will be made easier for the people to feel the impact of governance and government in Eti Osa and also in Lagos State.
Thank you. Now, let's... so do you want to respond to that question? Or you want to move on? Let's move on to somebody else.
Well, concerning traffic on the road and how people...
Specifically, waterways and the dangers on the water. That's the dangers on the water that the gentleman over there asked.
Okay, if you look into our waters today, there are a lot of deaths on our waters. So if the government should be able to help the people to move freely on the water, they should be able to have this water evacuation, clearing of the water, making sure the deaths on the water have been moved away because it might affect the engines of the boats. Thank you.
So some environmental action will need to be taken on the waters. That's a good point.
Okay. As an architect, health and safety is very important for me. And it's not just only the waters that I hazard, the road. Even some few days ago, we had an issue with the vice president. But as a lawmaker, I'm supposed to enforce and ensure that the executive arm does the right thing. So we ensure that there are health and safety measures that have been applied, not just for the waterways, but every other project that they embark on as regards transportation within this constituency and Lagos at large. Thank you.
Mr. Michael?
All right. Basically, we can always we can have a free session to teach individuals how to swim. In case of hazard, like maybe you can create maybe once in a month or something to reduce it. I'm just saying from my own. Then another thing is we can have security agents situated in some areas and this on the water. So in case of hazard, just like the way we have police at the Third Milan Bridge, we can also have some security agents that they can just stay in one very good corner in case of any hazard and all that. But specifically, everybody should learn how to swim.
All right, we're going to take 2 more questions from the audience. 2 more questions from the audience. Who's passing the microphone, please? Okay. Introduce yourself and ask your question. You can direct your question to any specific candidate.
Good afternoon. My name is Bolu Andrews and I'm a property consultant. I have several questions, but let me direct. The first one...
Just one question, please.
Just one. Okay. The most important question. I live in Eti Osa constituency. 4 of you are fighting for my vote. What's your policy? What's your plan for getting my vote as against the value of my life? That's my question.
Okay, you might need to clarify the question a little bit more,
Okay.
Unless the candidates understand the question. Okay, so yeah, it's a bit ambiguous, so you might need to expand on it. A bit.
Okay, elaborating further. I'm voting for you to be at Eti Osa constituency 1. What plan? What's your policy? What plan against my vote? That okay, I'm receiving votes from all people from Eti Osa constituency. What am I giving back in return as to the value of their lives? That's what I mean. I don't know if you understand. Still don't understand. Okay.
Okay, so I guess usually these things are couched under different what you would call catchments. So
That's
what does this cover? Does this cover the economic, maybe something security based, something welfare based, something health?
And social and health. That's why I said I asked several questions, but since I wanted to encompass everything now.
Okay, so basically, I mean, the question obviously is focused on how the value of the person's vote, how valuable is their vote to you, and how far would you go to ensure that the trust that has been given to you is not betrayed. So that question, of course, obviously you're going to respond in 30 seconds.
Okay. I'll be looking at 7 key areas: education, healthcare, housing, infrastructural development, the information bill, economy, and agriculture. Now, let me put that in totality. What that means simply is, as a lawmaker, all these 7 areas I will ensure that a bill is passed to actually ensure that your vote for me is actually not a waste, but an impact will be felt directly as a constituent in Eti Osa.
Thank you.
Okay. There is a saying that says, if the government to the people, for the people, fails to take responsibility of the people, what will the people do? Now, I'm going to assure you of your votes. If what I've said I'm going to do, by the time I pass them to the House, if it's not been signed and given out, there is an internal revenue that I'm going to develop that will help in that aspect. Thank you.
What I'll be doing and I'll be focusing on to ensure that we cater to the people and ensure that I am what your vote is to take a look at human capital. When you say human capital, you're talking about education and skill acquisition. There's nowhere in the world where the human capital of the people suffer from things like healthcare, infrastructure, political talents, and development. So what we'll be focusing on is on people, because if you fix things and you don't fix people, the people will destroy the things that you fixed. So we're focusing on the people and developing them through education and skill acquisition. Thank you.
Michael?
If I give you 1,000 naira, if I give you 1,000 naira for your vote, divided by 365 by 4, that's it. But the person that is there right now, the government that are there, you voted them with your integrity. So I will say, vote alternatively. Like I used to tell my loyalists, it is not the number of posters pasted, it is the number of lives impacted. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll take the last question. We had a gentleman in the back, I think. So you can direct your question to any of the candidates. Please do speak with the microphone. For the benefit of those watching us online, we'd like you to speak with a microphone.
Yeah, Yusuf Afolabi, Oluwadabilola, and I'm an inverter personnel. I just want to take and make reference to what the Honorable Yusuf Olashegun Michael just said regarding the life jackets, security on the waters, and cautions via waterway here. You know, we Nigerians take things with levity big time because over us, even if we never reach their guns, but we watch films, you understand, and we see people that assigned as a professional to be in the Bay Watch. We see police officers patrol the waters, you know, and people like me and this guy on red, we actually travel on water big time. It came with water, you understand. Now imagine someone that's being attacked in the boat, nothing. At times we'll be inside the boat in the middle of a big water. It's just me and ourselves. You understand? So all of these things that I made mention is what we are supposed to think of. It is what we're supposed to make much emphasis on. So that's the main reason why I personally, Yusuf Afolabi Damola, would go for AD. That's all, man.
So was that a question? Okay. Can we have the final question? I think the lady behind. Okay. Let's just go ahead and ask your question. Please make it a question and not a support statement. Thank you.
My name is Grace Bolton. I want to ask all the candidates, how are you going to bridge the gap concerning unemployment between those that are not from Eti Osa or Lagos State and the other language-speaking tribes? For example, now, if there's a vacancy in the civil service commissions, you first of all employ your people, the Yorubas. And you will not even consider we from other tribes like the Igbos or other people. How are you going to bridge the gap? That's my question.
That's a very good question. As you know, Lagos is a cosmopolitan city. It's a melting pot of many cultures, and it's been that way for more than 50 years. That's a very important question. When you're talking about empowerment of people, how do you want to bridge this gap between those who are called, how do we say it in Nigeria, son of the soil, and the others who came from other parts of the country but have made Lagos State their home, and specifically Eti Osa their constituency?
Thank you. My name is Elizabeth Emmanuel Hekanem. I am not a Lagosian by origin, but I'm a Lagosian by birth. Now, whether you're a Lagosian by birth or not, my going to the house is to represent every Nigerian in Lagos State, from every tribes, to make sure I break that bound of only Lagosians could achieve Lagos State when it comes to government work. So what I've put on ground for unemployment is that every unemployed youth would be given allowances by being monitored in a proper way, making sure at a particular time
Thank you.
they will be given a job to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Emmanuel.
Okay, I think I am Lagosian. My mom is from the South, and I have a Southeast name. So yeah, I am fully detribalized. Another thing that we can give credit to Lagos, because we actually have some commissioners that are not Lagosian. And I believe Lagos has benefited a lot from it, and Eti Osa also, because there's strength through diversity. We can actually push this into tourism in the sense that you can come to Lagos or Eti Osa and have a feel or experience of the entire country, because you can meet every tribe right here in our constituency. So when I go and I engage with other people from other regions in Nigeria, I actually welcome them, that you are welcome to Eti Osa, and when I'm conversing with them. So it is going to be, I am fully detribalized. Thank you.
You want to rebut what he said?
He didn't answer the question. He didn't answer the question. So please, I want you to give him 13 seconds more to answer. Unemployment, bridging unemployment between other tribes in Lagos. You only talk about you from South and people. Yeah.
Okay, so he's challenging you that you didn't quite answer the question.
Okay, so one of the ideologies and philosophies of the Social Democratic Party is equity. So what we see is the human. We don't see man, we don't see woman, we don't see Yoruba, we don't see Hausa, we don't see Igbo. So everyone is going to be given a fair and an equal chance. Once you meet the requirements of the job or the position, definitely is the best man that would be for the job as a House of Assembly member. But I wouldn't be the person giving out jobs.
That's not in the purview of my office, but I would attend to everyone from different cultures within my constituency and answer to their challenges. Thank
All
you.
right, thank you so much. Mr. Michael.
Sentiment in job can be in private organizations, but in public organizations, I tend to understand that we are a little bit tribalistic, especially the schools. Okay, once I'm elected as the member of the House of Assembly, there should be a reason why I should have 25% of Igbo teachers, 25% of Hausa teachers, 25% of... I'm just trying to say that if the number of CVs submitted, just like Afia said, then to buttress on that, the empowerment program that...
Are you saying that if you are elected, that in Lagos State, 25% of the teachers would be...
It has to be mixed. It shouldn't be strictly Yoruba teachers.
How do you intend to achieve that?
Yeah, that's why I said it depends on the number of CVs submitted. If other tribes submit their CV, so it's not going to be strengthened on strictly Yoruba.
I'm not talking about the submission of CVs now.
Yes.
I'm talking about the achievement of this goal that you have set, which is that people submitting their CVs, you will be able to guarantee that they will get the jobs for the CVs that they have submitted based on the fact that you have this formula for giving out 25%.
So we can reshuffle. That's another ideology. So we can reshuffle whereby convene some schools and taking some Yorubas to where we have more of Igbos and bring them down there, trying to balance.
So you're going to
it
make
up.
this a Lagos State government policy?
Yeah, it's going to be basically for everybody. It shouldn't be centered on one person alone.
All right, Mr. Arolua. You want to respond?
Rebuttal.
Okay, hang on. Let's have Mr. Arolua first, then you can do your rebuttal.
You asked a very interesting question, and let me say something here today. It's only Lagos State that you have someone from the southeast becoming a House of Representative member. It has never and hasn't happened in any other state. So let me put that aside. Lagos State is an open market for any tribe, as people will see it. However, on unemployment and bridging the gap of unemployment, I have a program I intend to pass, the after-school entrepreneurship program. Rather than Lagosians looking for jobs, we will be actually creating jobs. Thank you.
All right, so your rebuttal will be 15 seconds because of the time, please.
Have rebuttals for two.
Please pick one. Please pick
Okay,
one battle.
I'll say
Pick
them
one
under
battle
15
this time
seconds.
around.
I'll
Just
still
one.
put under 15 seconds. Okay, he said 25% of tribe and all that. That's already tribalistic because you're dividing people by tribe. And number two, he says he'll be creating jobs. Does he have plans with his governor to be creating jobs for people? Is that the plan? Thank you.
Okay, let's start with Mr. Arolua first.
The after-school entrepreneurship program is not a governorship or whatever program. It is a program that will actually put in place the stakeholders in the educational sector of Lagos State. I mean the teachers, the students, as well as the parents. Now what we're going to do is simple. As a parent, you are a tailor. You come to school, during the summer holidays, we have the after-school program. You come to the school with your tailoring machine. The government doesn't need to buy, or we will buy, yes, but you, as a tailor, you bring your machine to the school and you train other students who happen to be your own child's classmates or schoolmates. So as a mechanic, you can teach how to repair Ford, you can teach how to repair Toyota. So this is just a way of reducing the numbers of people out of jobs.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Arolua.
we will be creating jobs.
Thank you, Mr. Arolua. Thank you. Okay, so you are going to respond to what he said.
All right, he did not listen to my formula. I said 25% of Igbo, 25% of Yoruba, 25. So meaning that you cannot get to Kuramo College and find 75% of Yoruba. That's what I'm trying to say. That it has to be equal.
You didn't talk about implementation.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this can only be done, like I've said, if we have numbers of CVs that are from other tribes. So it's not going to be centered on not only schools, but I'm looking at other organizations that are tribalistic.
But his challenge to you is that that's being tribalistic. So you're not looking at qualifications now. You're looking at tribe, breaking down things using the Nigerian federal character.
Okay. All right. The truth is, the all right, all right. The honest truth is, now I know vividly that Mr. Toby will not send his child to Kuramo College because they communicate in Yoruba. So the implementation of that is I made mention of reshuffling. So we can reshuffle to balance the languages of teachers being employed in public organizations.
All right, thank you so much to all our candidates. Now we're going to make this debate slightly different. We took less questions from the audience for this reason. Now for 1 minute, each candidate is going to stand up and give a closing remark. Now, you had an opening submission that you made. Now, your opening submission is to bring your programs. This one is your closing remark. You're now pitching directly to voters to tell them, vote for me. This reason. So you have 1 minute to do that. And please, you're going to come forward one after the other. Yes, Mr. Orodo first, and then, of course, Mr. and all of that. So just come forward to the podium and do that. One minute.
Thank you very much for having me. It is actually fact that the Not Too Young to Run bill was passed in May 2018. And let me put it here today to the House. The Lagos State House of Assembly was part of the state that went against that bill out of the 3 states. That is Lagos, Kano, and Zamfara State. Now, I am a young person, and we have 64% of residents in Eti Osa today living below the age of 40 years. I would represent the larger percentage of Eti Osa constituents if you elect me as a representative. On March 2nd, kindly bring out your PVC. Don't fight. Just vote the book ADP. And your boy will represent you awesomely. I salute you all. Thank you very much. And God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Thank you, everybody. If you've been current on the internet, you've been hearing about Shore, Omole Shore, AAC, African Action Congress. One of the things our government is going to do for Nigeria is to bring in the minimum wage bring it up to 100,000 naira for everybody. To every unemployed youth, you will get your job, and with 100,000 naira. And the electricities are going to be easier for us to get at that time. 2019 is our year. Vote AAC in every local government in Nigeria. Thank you.
My name is Tobi Adejoroluwa, running for Lagos State House of Assembly under the Social Democratic Party. Really, I'm not a politician. I'm a professional. It means I am here to work. I understand the problem. I understand my role. I have the experience. I am ready to work. I know where to take us to be a global city. We are no longer going to be local players anymore, because Eti Osa and my constituency, we are developing, and we are developing far better than every other constituency here in Lagos State. So I know where to take us to. I know how we can be the pride of Africa and the heart of Lagos State. Thank you.
I am Yusuf Oluwasegun Michael, young, vibrant, non-tribalistic. The goal of Alliance for Democracy is to stop systematic slavery, a fight between an individual and the people. I'm the only candidate whose posters is not out yet, and I'm proud to say this. I am not a politician. I am an educationist to impact lives to people. And if I have followers, loyalists that are loyal to me, I'm not there yet. If you vote Alliance for Democracy, there ain't going to be one man tyranny. Alliance for Democracy is actually the key. Vote alternatively, vote wisely. Vote Honorable Yusuf Oluwasegun Michael for Lagos State House of Assembly. Eti Osa Constituency 1.
Can we give a big round of applause to all our candidates? You know how politicians are. They're already calling themselves honorable and honorable. So if we don't stress them like this, when they eventually get elected, you might not see them again. So one thing I'm happy about, and I'm sure a lot of us here too are happy about, is the fact that a lot of the people running for office and who attended this debate are young. And they've come up with ideas, they've come up with programs. A lot of us believe in some of the things that they're saying, and we want to be a part of this new movement that has started. So I want to say a big thank you to Mr. Adejoye Oluwa. Let's give him a round of applause from the SDP. And of course, Ms. Elizabeth Emmanuel from the AAC. And Mr. Oluwa from the ADP. And Mr. Michael from the AD. Now, I also want us to specially thank AIG Media Pro and Ibile Foundation. I'm going to introduce the founders just now. Let's welcome Mrs. Adeyinka Igbinoba with a round of applause as she comes forward. Mrs. Adeyinka Igbinoba is the CEO of AIG Media Pro, and also Mr. Henry Balogun of Ibile Foundation. So as you can see, this is not a debate that was sponsored by big organizations or mainstream TV stations. They financed this program that we had today single-handedly. Can we give them a round of applause? I'm now going to welcome Mr. Balogun for the vote of thanks. And also his thoughts about what he has seen here this afternoon.
Thank you very much. It's been a wonderful afternoon. We've been here all day. We had the House of Representatives candidates here earlier on in the day. And it's quite interesting to have had and listened to the gentleman this afternoon. It shows that Eti Osa is really going places. Thank you for your contributions. Thank you for your understanding of Eti Osa. Thank you for being very responsible candidates and responsible citizens of Lagos State and the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Without much ado, therefore, I'd like to say this. I appreciate your coming. And I wish all of you success and good success in the elections. Second, to our audience, those of you who found the time to come here this afternoon, I also want to say a big thank you. We appreciate the fact that you took the time out, and we hope you will vote for the candidate you find most suitable to represent you in Eti Osa as your member of the Lagos State House of Assembly. And for those who are watching online, I also say a big thank you to you all. On behalf of the management of AIG Media and Ibile Foundation, we appreciate your coming. Have a wonderful evening. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Mr. Balogun. On that note, we'd like to draw these proceedings to a close. As you can see on the screen, we have for Ibile Foundation, that's Ibile TV, and AIG Media Pro, several social media handles. There's a lot of things that they're involved in that if you follow them, of course, a lot of information as well. So please do follow. And they also both have, of course, YouTube pages as well that you can follow to watch Ibile TV and also AIG Media Pro. So on that note, thank you so much to everybody for coming. Thank you to our candidates. Our candidates, you may rise. And as they rise, please just give them a round of applause. And as Mr. Balogun has said, wish you all the best in the forthcoming elections. We look forward to some surprises and some upsets. Sure. So when that happens, please let us know. All right, so we're going to be taking pictures immediately after. And thank you so much again, once again, for coming. And for those of you who watched online, Thank you for watching and for participating. God bless you.